I think definitely as far as like I was mentioning, the community with all of the franchisees around us, it's a unique model in the way that in owning your own business, you wouldn't have co-workers, but it does feel like you've got co-workers in that way where you're all in the same boat together, you know what it is. And especially when things go wrong, which it does from time to time, like my hot water system stopped working the other day and I'm like, well, I'm in the middle of nowhere where I can't go down to Bayswater where they are serviced. So I messaged and filmed it and put it on the WhatsApp group that we've got, and I ended up fixing it because similar people had the same problems.
Welcome to the Gyms Podcast. I'm your host, Joel Kleber, and this podcast is designed to share stories of our franchisees, franchisors, Jim himself, and other members of the Gyms family that we think you might find interesting. If you are researching our brand, we've got a previous back catalogue. There's so many great episodes that you can find online. And if you do like what you hear, please make sure you leave us a thumbs up on YouTube if you're watching, or online as well. We really do appreciate the support. Without further ado, here's today's episode. So Sarah, thank you very much for joining us today on the Gyms Podcast and giving us your time. And you're one of our Core Silver membership winners. And the Core Silver membership's worth around $600, $700 to get 2 free nights at any Core hotel in the world, a bunch of discounts on dining and drinks as well. So we hope you enjoy that. So
thank you very, very much.
Thank you for jumping on today. So did you nominate yourself or did someone nominate you for the award?
I nominated myself just because we could. So
Absolutely. Do you remember what you said or what you listed yourself for?
I think it was a little while ago, but I think it was just sort of the achievements that I've had over the last 2 years of me being a franchisee. So I think I just listed a few different points.
Well, let's run for the achievements. Let's tell everyone what you've been doing.
Yeah, so I'm Jim's Dogwash Dandenong. So I entered last year the Greater Dandenong Chamber of Commerce Awards, Southeast Business Awards, and I was a finalist for that.
Wow.
So it didn't come home with a win, but I was still a finalist, which was pretty cool. So I got to dress up and go to a gala dinner and things like that. So and got certificate I can put up on Instagram. So that was nice.
Great.
So,
I presume there would have been a lot of businesses that were involved in that as well.
oh yeah, yes, they're all over the southeast district of Melbourne. So there was quite a few submissions, but yeah, I got in there, so that was nice. So
good on you. And what were you doing prior to Jim's Dogwash, Sarah?
I was in disability and aged care, so I did anything from support work. I was in support coordination, PCA for a little bit. Worked in the dementia ward. Did a bit of all of it. So
a lot of important work. What prompted the change for you then?
I got sick, so I've got a few chronic illnesses, and I just wasn't able to do the 9 to 5 Monday to Friday thing anymore. So I needed the flexibility in being able to design my own schedule and being able to work around that. So I do 3 days on, 2 days off. That's how my schedule works, which kind of works well for a lot of my clients because if I don't have a day that they want, I eventually will. So because it's a rotating roster. So if they can only do Monday evenings, I will eventually have a Monday evening. So stuff like that.
And how'd you just come across Jim's Dogwash? Was there other things you're looking at or was it just only doing Jim's Dogwash?
I think I came across it on Facebook, I think so. And it was kind of at that point where me and my partner, we were saying, I can't keep pushing myself like this anymore. It was one of those make or break sort of situations where I just wasn't able to keep pushing myself the way I was doing with the kind of workload Monday to Friday. And it just happened upon Facebook and we sort of took it as a sign. So we had to message and find out more about it. So
you've inquired. So what's happened from then? Did you come and did you do an observation day or how did it all work out for you?
Yeah. I did a trial day with Jen from Jim's Dogwash Shabroni, who's
Jen Sexton, yeah.
Yeah. So and she was lovely and she actually did my training as well. So yeah, so that's what I did from there. So and she messaged me within a few hours of me inquiring on Facebook. So that was pretty quick. So
that's great. And now obviously you had a passion for dogs. That's why you picked Jim's Dogwash?
Yeah, definitely. I've grown up with a German Shepherd in my house, even when I was a baby. Special penchant for the big dogs. I love all dogs, but no, I've got a special spot for the bigger ones. So.
And how was the training? Because if you're coming from a completely unrelated field to become a professional dog groomer, how was that experience like?
I was really nervous because, like I said, I've pretty much had German Shepherds or dogs that shed. So I've never actually done grooming, like clipping, training and things like that. So I've never picked up a pair of clippers in my life before that. So that made me a little bit nervous, but knowing, and especially because I was like, well, was 2 weeks going to be enough kind of thing to be able to do that. But having Jen say, it doesn't stop there. You can call me all the time and message me and send me photos, show me how it looks, and I'll tell you where you need to fix it. So it didn't stop just there with the training. It continued throughout. And that wasn't just with Jen, it was all with all the other franchisees as well around my area. So, and plenty of us have gone when we just can't deal with a dog anymore, or for whatever reason, our clippers die or my dryers died at one point. We lend each other equipment. So we come out to each other and help each other out, which is nice. So
that's great. Now, do you want to talk about the services you provide in your business? Obviously it's more than washing, so what else can you do?
I know it's different now. I'm not exactly sure how often, but I'm one of the few gyms dog wash in Australia that do ultrasound teeth cleaning. So
let's talk about this. This sounds interesting.
Yeah, so unlike regular teeth cleaning, it uses ultrasound technology. It's called MiraPet, MIRA, and basically once the tartar's there, you can brush all you want, but it's not coming off. Same as our teeth, you got to go to a dentist to get it cleaned off. But with the ultrasound, it breaks the bond between the tartar and the teeth, so it will save you hundreds, even thousands in vet bills of having them put under anesthesia as well. And especially for older dogs, you just don't want to be risking putting them under anesthesia, because it's same as us, it's a strain on their heart and you don't really want to be doing that. So I can take care of dogs from, when they're new puppies all the way. So I've had 15-year-old dogs that I do. So done to dental cares for life. So that's a big part of my business. So, and it takes about 15 minutes, half an hour as well, each session. So.
And how did you get involved with that? How did you get involved with this service?
I think because although grooming does make me a fair amount of money, I still needed that little bit extra push. But I was in a position, especially with my illnesses, where I'm like, I can't physically work any harder. So what can I do to supplement my income just to earn a little bit more? And this, again, it takes me 30 minutes if they're a bit restless. So it's an easy, low energy task for me to supplement my income, just to earn a little bit more on the side. So,
because we got a couple of Shih Tzus and they tell us we've got to get their teeth cleaned. So, So with this machine, you would come around and obviously there's no anesthetic or anything. How does it actually, is it something that sits on the face, or how do you actually do it?
Yeah, it's like a regular toothbrush. So, and when it's on, you don't even think it's on. It's got a light on there, but it doesn't vibrate. Well, it can vibrate if you want, but I never turn it on. So, but you just hold it on the teeth for about at least 10 seconds. If you can get more, that's great. But a lot of dogs will say no at 10 seconds, and then you move on to the next side. But yeah, and so they get a bit weirded out by having something in their mouth, but once they get used to it, same as grooming. So
it's not painful or anything like that. It's just
no, nothing at all.
Okay.
It's literally just having a still toothbrush in your mouth. That's it.
And it's similar effect to if they were going to go under.
Yep, there's no, as long, I can only do it up to, because there's 4 stages of dental disease, so I can only do it up to a level 2 or 3.
Okay.
There are plenty of times where I will refer them on to Australian Animal Oral Care, which are the people that I associate with and have trained me on how to do this service. And same as me, they go out to the clients and we'll do a scale and clean, not under anaesthetic as well, so which is great for the dogs that have health issues or heart problems or a little bit too old to go under. So, and he just sits in the lounge room and picks at their teeth. So
sounds like a no-brainer, because we didn't know about it. The first time I'm hearing about it is from you, this service. So it's great to learn about it, because we don't want to put our dogs under general if we can afford it as well. So
yeah, and it's very expensive as well. You spend most of it on anaesthetist, really. So
you don't have to say how much your service is exactly, but how much cheaper is it than doing? Because that's what I presume a lot of people are told. Obviously, got to go to the dentist. They think they've got to go to the vet and have them put under and properly scaled and all that sort of stuff. So.
Which I've been told from various people who have been quoted by their vet to have them under and have the full scale and clean. They can be up to like $1,500.
Wow.
I was like, wow. So, but with my sessions, depending on severity and things like that, it's once a week until it's clear, and then it's maintenance sessions so every 4 to 8 weeks, which sort of coincide with their regular groom. So, but the initial one's around the $55 mark.
Oh, wow. That's really affordable.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if we have 6 sessions to get it back to a good state, that's a lot cheaper than $1,500. So
absolutely.
It's not $50 for 15 minutes. I'm like, but if you're going to be taking them to the vet, it's a lot more. So,
but it's also not as traumatizing for the dog. Like the dog has to go to a vet and stuff, and it's an sure environment, whereas you guys come to the house. And
I actually have dogs that enjoy it because I like the taste of the toothpaste. So
fair. What's the flavour of the toothpaste? Is it beef, chicken?
It's like a mint and cucumber, or like apple and cucumber sort of thing. So they like it. So.
I'm glad Glad to hear about that, because that's something we will probably end up doing, I reckon, because so is it just you in the dog wash division that do that or?
I have been promoting more. I don't know how many have actually signed up since, but I know it's definitely me that does it at the moment, and trying to promote more franchisees to sign up with them. But at the moment, I know it's me. So,
well, it sounds like there'd be huge demand for this, because as I was saying to you, like I'm like general, you listen to what the vet says or whatever, whereas something like this, it's far more cheaper and can be just
80% of dogs over the age of 3 have some kind of dental decay or dental disease. So it's a big problem that no one talks about. So
there you go. And it can also, if it's not treated properly, can lead to a lot of other issues that you would know. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's huge. I mean, anyone who's needed to go to the dentist with a bad toothache knows how painful it is as well. It's the same for the dog. So
There we go. That's a great one. And in regards to your business yourself, how have you found doing that from being in employment to what you're doing? How have you found the change?
I think it was absolutely a necessity for me to move over, just because, like I've mentioned with my health, I couldn't do, although myself, I am a reliable person, my illnesses do not make me a reliable employee. So, with where I can't tell what I'm going to be day to day. So basically my work day starts at 10:30 and I finish later in the night. So that works well for me. People go, oh my goodness, you're working at 7:30 at night. I'm like, this is actually my peak time. So it's, people think that is late and unmanageable, but it works best with my illnesses and things, being able to do that. So.
And do you want to run through the benefits of maybe using a mobile dog groomer compared to going to the salon? Because I presume a lot of people still don't, they probably know about it, but they're sort of thinking maybe taking your dog into the retail site-based salon is maybe better than a mobile dog groomer. So maybe you want to talk about that comparison.
I think that particularly I appeal to a lot of people who can't leave the house because they've got to do school runs, they've got newborn babies, toddlers, or have injuries themselves. They've got to haul their dog into the car, they've got to drive them to the salon, drop them off, come back home, wait for a bit, come back in. So it's more of a convenience side of thing, and especially a lot of, it's a big trust that owners put in me to look after their dogs as well. So having to leave them with a stranger as well is a little bit nerve-wracking for a lot of people that are taking them to salons, whereas I'm just outside the door. So, if they are worried, they can come out and periodically check and go, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah, all good. So it's that reassurance for them that I'm just outside the door if something goes wrong. So, but not that things have gone wrong, but if it were to, I'm right at their house. So
absolutely. And also the maybe let's say dogs that might be a bit more anxious or scared, how do you deal with them? Is it something which takes multiple times, or how do you go about dealing with those sort of dogs?
I definitely have a lot of anxious dogs as well, and I am not above bribing. I have lots of treats in there. I've got lots of cuddles in there, and I've got lots of pet sprays and mists, and I do all the aromatherapy things, and there's different things that work for different dogs as well, and different things that will make them anxious. So the dryer is a big one. That's a big noise, big sounds. The having a dryer in the face is pretty intense. So I have happy hoodies on them, which is basically like an elasticized scarf that puts over their ears. So it's kind of acts like a hug, but also muffles some of the noise out too. So, and there are some dogs that are absolutely terrified when they first meet me, and there are a lot of the rescue dogs. So I specialize in them, and sometimes it's just me sitting on the table with them, wrapping them up in a towel and giving them a hug until they calm down. But different, they sometimes don't want me to touch them for a while, which you respect that, and until they're happy to come chat to me. But some, they just need a hug like toddlers.
Yeah. How many dogs do you roughly do in your 3 days work?
I do. Well, I aim for about between 4 and 6 dogs a day. So, that's probably 18 or so dogs max I would do in my 3 day period. So.
Yeah. Are you happy with the level of income as well you're making for the 3 days?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've had to adjust a little bit with my prices recently with the end of financial year, and because we're all going through a cost of living crisis, and my suppliers have risen their prices, so I've had to also match them. I've had to do a little rejigging of my income, but otherwise, I'm certainly not destitute.
And what do you like about being in the dog grooming industry? What are you enjoying about it the most?
And it sounds quite reductive, but working with dogs, I get to have, it's good for the soul, and I get to be outside. So, I get doggy cuddles every day. So,
it's good for the soul. I love hearing that. That's great. I think it is, isn't it? Just therapeutic almost in a way. You get to.
Oh, it is. Yeah. And I am outside more than I normally would if I weren't working in this industry. So yeah, it's definitely promoting my health. So in doing what I do, and certainly gotten a lot stronger because I've got even giant Saint Bernards that refuse to get in the bath. So they refuse to get in the bath. I have to lift them in. So
bit of weightlifting as well.
Yeah. So I definitely, even if I had a gym membership, I would have cancelled it.
Yeah. But I can also, you get some great feedback from your clients as well with what you do.
Oh yeah, and that definitely makes it worth it as well, because we all have those moments of self-doubt where we go, did I do great on that job? And getting that feedback on Instagram or text messages is really lovely. And hearing that, he never lets anyone touch him, and you made him into a big pussycat. And I'm like, it's reaffirming. It's nice.
Yeah, no, people got to understand, like, you guys are such good experts at getting dogs to form a trust with you really quickly. Because if you couldn't do that, you wouldn't be able to survive in the game.
Oh no, absolutely not. So, and it is a risky job for we've all had injuries and bites. If it's a reality of our job. So even with the dogs that you don't expect as well, but you've got to just be really good at reading animals and knowing when to back off, and they need space, or they've had enough, or with the difference between that's a temper tantrum and that's I've had enough. Because plenty of them will just squeal like huskies. They just scream the whole time. So that's just part of the breed. So they scream. So
now, what are some common mistakes, Sarah, that people might make in regards to their dogs? I presume I could probably reel off a few basic ones I've heard, but what are some common mistakes from customers that basically they should maybe look out for or take a bit more consideration for when it comes to with their dogs grooming?
I think that you can certainly desensitize any dog, but it's best to start young with them. So I always encourage new puppy owners start playing with their paws, because I have to handle their paws a lot, either by trimming them or cutting their nails. And the dogs that aren't used to that will yank and grab and squeal and stuff. So having them used to that sort of environment, and having a noisy environment as well. If they're used to a very quiet home, and especially now we're getting this generation of pandemic dogs that have just been conditioned to stay at home all the time, and the owners are always staying at home. So they haven't had that experience of going outside, lots of noises, different people in and out of the house, dogs as well. They haven't been able to socialize as much. So yeah, just getting them exposed to everything and teaching them how to be brave in the world is a big one that I say. Get them curious, encourage them to be curious, because they need to be brave with new experiences, because grooming is it can be a big stressor, because there's lots of new smells, environments, things that we do with them. So yeah, encouraging them just to be brave.
And also for the I presume, because I've spoken to a few Dog Wash franchisees, and I guess customers not brushing as well, or just leaving it all to you guys maybe between visits is probably something where it might be frustrating. I guess it'd be frustrating for you guys, because you've got to get the knots set or cut it, or it would hurt the dog. Yeah. So
we have to shave them down. So, and I think as well, teaching them about the correct tools to use as well, because some people have the wrong brush for their
I presume some just use a hairbrush they might use in their own hair. So
yeah, well, some of the dogs, you can use those ones. So especially a really fine hair like Maltesers, you can use them, and it's actually more preferable, because the slicker brushes, the wire brushes, can hurt them. So they're like, oh, my dog hates being brushed. I'm like, what brush are you using? And they said, oh, I'm using a slicker brush. I'm like, yeah, they've got very fine hair, so you're scraping their skin, it hurts. And they're like, oh, I didn't know. So they've changed to a plastic tipped brush. But and dogs like Huskies, Shepherds, Caucasian Shepherds, all of those ones that have really thick coats, you need a proper metal coat to get down to the skin to get the undercoat as well. Now, we often refer it to as surface brushing if they're just using a brush, where it will brush the top coat, but everything under the bottom though. So they'll look great on the outside, but you put a comb in there and it just gets stuck in there. Yeah, because it's all matted down at the skin. So it's just it comes down to education. A lot of it just people just don't know sometimes. So
yeah, I guess it's something when you get there, they might ask you those questions, and then from then on they will maintain it and help and all that sort of stuff. Now, is it every sort of, what's the interval generally for most dogs? Is it 4 weeks, or is it 6 weeks, or what time are you going?
Depends on the dog really, because I even had one that I had a pug that I would do every 2 weeks, because she would just shed uncontrollably, and she especially she would sleep in the owner's bed as a lot, so they just preferred to keep her nice and clean and stuff.
Yep.
It's an unusual case though. Normally it's anywhere between 4 and 8 weeks is the usual one that I do. So especially for dogs that shed or they tend to be a bit more smelly or they roll in the mud, it's towards the 4 weeks. Whereas the dogs that are just love to sit on the couch all day and their hair doesn't grow too long and they're well kept, it's more towards the 8 weeks. So
there we go. I've noticed these swords in your background. Giants.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
No.
That's my partner's a nerd.
No.
Those are all foam and metal.
Yeah, no, I was just asking just to see that
I
you
didn't
guys
even
were
realize
into those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But I was just curious. There's some of the background I was saying. I think maybe in role play or something like that. All those.
Yeah, I'm a cosplayer and I do.
There we go.
Like that. So
Yeah.
we have lots of weapons in our house that are fake.
There we go. Now we've got a sword here for Jim. Actually, we've got thrown a sort of Gondor or something replica,
Cool.
which we used for a video. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about that. I wasn't worried about there being the background. It's more just curious about that. So with dog wash, for example, if, what sort of person, obviously somebody loves dogs, but what sort of person do you think suits being a franchisee in the division?
Well, like you said, absolutely. You've got to love dogs, but also, know dogs as well. Some people just cannot read a dog at all. Like I will know within, not to toot my own horn, but within the first 10 seconds of meeting a dog, I will know if they're going to cause me problems or not. So you can tell just being able to read that body language as well. There are dogs that I know I will not be able to groom them. I've only refused to groom
Really?
once.
Okay.
And I said, I'm sorry, but he needs to be referred to a salon for his safety and for mine because he was aggressive.
Wow.
So and there are dogs that are fearful and fear biters, I would say, but we can work around that. But ones that are straight up aggressive, no, I can't groom them. So,
well, what are some common signs from your perspective, Sarah, and what people should look out for? Then maybe obviously you guys would be, body language or dog language experts in a way. So, what are some things that is it putting the ears back, or is it what's the things to look out for?
Dogs, I'd find when they go very still, almost like a statue, ears back, turning back, very slow movements, tail under, not coming up to me, pulled back lips is a big one. That's a back off sign. So, which people often think about, the beware of the dog signs with drooling.
Yeah.
Which obviously yes, but and hackles. That's a big aggression, back off one. But that slow backing away thing, I'm like, whoa, okay, you don't want me to go near you. So that very still statue like kind of posture is a back off. So
and what traits do you seem to get the most cut through? What traits are the ones that you brands?
Liver is a great win over. So and I got gifted the other day. I love her. One of my clients, unfortunately, she bought all these treats for her dog, but she turned out to be allergic to all of them because she had a skin allergy.
Wow.
So she'd had all these treats, and she goes, "Well, I can't have them. Do you want them?" So I just sort of got a giant bucket full of quite expensive, like chicken jerky and marrow bones of schmackos as well. So I can definitely and a lot of the dogs can tell the difference between the Kmart ones and the schmackos as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they spit it out on the ground. I don't want that. All the good stuff.
There's some treats that are expensive now. They've definitely raised their game in terms of what you can get. Because I remember the Smackos, but now you can go to Coles and stuff, and you got your whole selection where you can put into the cup, and you have to wait. And
oh yeah, you could entire aisle just for dogs. In Coles. So
look, some of the food looks better than the more stuff that I'll eat sometimes.
TikTok chefs for dogs. So,
is that?
Yeah, I follow them, and
wow.
They're full chefs and quail eggs and meal toppers. I'm like, wow, that's and margaritas. They make drinks for themselves and their dogs. Yeah,
margaritas.
Yeah, I do a lot of my learning on TikTok.
A lot of people do. That's a great place for recipes and stuff. I've had a few dinners made based on TikTok recipes, so it's for sure.
People underestimate it. It's not just the dance app for kids anymore. You can learn a lot from it. So
absolutely. But I was going to say as well, with your support as well, what support you get from office, or what are you getting from a support point of view from us?
I think definitely as far as like I was mentioning, the community with all of the franchisees around us, it's a unique model in the way that in owning your own business, you wouldn't have co-workers but it does feel like you've got co-workers in that way where you're all in the same boat together. You know what it is, and especially when things go wrong, which it does from time to time. Like my hot water system stopped working the other day, and I'm like, well, I'm in the middle of nowhere where I can't go down to Bayswater where they are serviced. So I messaged and filmed it and put it on the WhatsApp group that we've got, and and I ended up fixing it because similar people had the same problems. So having that franchisee support network is great because we've just rely on each other heaps for stuff. So
that's great to hear. And I was going to say as well, looking back now, what was your first couple of weeks like? Do you remember what the first week was like when you're running your own business?
Oh yeah, I was.
It sounds very fearful.
Yeah, well, because I started in September 2021, so that was the first week of when we were allowed back. So the mobile groomers were allowed back because we were outside, so but the salons weren't. So
it was the other way around before, yeah.
Yeah, so because we were outdoors and there's less exposure, we were one of the first ones allowed back. So I had about 60 text messages or 40 phone calls within the first few days. And a lot of them were just shave downs because people weren't allowed to go and take their dogs. So a lot of them were just messes. So it was people almost begging me, going, please come do my dog. So it was pretty intense too. And I nearly broke my ankle in the first 2 weeks. So I was taking a dog back and I rolled my ankle in a pothole and a nature strip. And I was just very lucky not to break my ankle, but it was all black and blue, my ankle, and I had to stay with my feet for a week. So, and there was a wheelchair. So it was pretty intense my first few weeks. So the things that could go wrong happened early. So,
and with your business experience now, what advice would you give someone starting out in business from your perspective?
I think definitely do your research. Don't go into it with. I think a lot of not gyms, but just everywhere will only highlight the things that are exciting and will tell you how easy it is. And it is absolutely great having dogs and having the freedom, but it is hard work. So, and definitely have a chat to, like Jim says, have a chat to current franchisees, have a chat to ex-franchisees, get that information, so, to get a good, solid understanding of what business you're signing up for. Yeah, so you're not in for any surprises when you join up. So
that's some great advice. So thank you very much for joining us today, Sarah. The teeth thing especially, like I'm going to talk to you after I stop recording on this to see about that because that's something we actually need for our little dogs at home. But we'll give you this, of course, silver membership for being a star franchisee. It's great to hear that you have a business which works around your lifestyle, which is really, really important. Like with gyms, we tend to promote, you can have 10 trailers and all this sort of stuff. Whereas I think it's an important aspect to hear from people like yourself who've got the lifestyle business and that's what works for them. It's really important. So thank you for joining us today and being a star franchisee and doing a great job.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for listening to the episode of the Gyms podcast. If you want to learn more about the Gyms Group, head to gyms.net or call us on 131 546 Australia or 0800 454 654 New Zealand. And if you did like the episode as well, please make sure you leave a review or a comment or a thumbs up or a comment on the video as well. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.